Welcome to the Woman Who Lives podcast.
Hello, Katie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. It's very nice to have you on. Sorry about the delay.
No problem.
So we'll just start then just by getting you to introduce yourself, just for everybody who doesn't know you. Just a bit about you, but a bit about what you do, and we'll crack on from there.
Brilliant. Well, I'm Katie Smith. I'm 34. Yeah, just checking 34. And I live near York. I've been doing Strongwoman about 4.5 years. And apart from being a mum, I do sports massage therapy and I'm also a strength coach.
Cool. So what got you into Strongwoman? How did you come about it? Did you do other sports beforehand and just kind of walk into it?
Yeah, well, I seem to spend all my 20s being pregnant. I've got 3 boys, so it was all about them, and I wasn't really focusing on myself or my health or anything like that. And I did the typical thing of joining the gym after I had my 3rd son, and with the aim to lose weight. And I did that, and I dropped like about 3, maybe 4 stone, something like that. And it wasn't until I started trying to venture into the weight section. It was at that point when I started venturing onto social media, following certain accounts, seeing what they were doing, and it kind of pushed me to want to do that sort of thing. So I sort of muddled my way through for a little bit, sort of trying to deadlift and things like that. And then local to me, a powerlifting gym opened up. So I got the courage to go down there, and I went down there, and the guy who owned it at the time, was brilliant, sort of took me through everything, and I started trying to powerlift. And I say try because I could not squat for love nor money. Too many years of carrying babies on your hips, it's not good for you.
I wouldn't understand that. I have no kids yet of my own, so I have all that ahead of me.
Yeah, so I didn't have the best back. I didn't really have any core strength. So yeah, it was a bit of trial and error, to be honest. And I did that for a few months, and I kind of made a bit of progress, but I found it really boring. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I remember having a really, really bad session and going to leave the gym, and there was a group of people outside doing farmer runs, and they asked me if I wanted to join in. And I had a go at it, and I think I did something like 50 kilo hand on my first go. And I was like, they were like, "You're good at this, you should do it." And I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Well, that was really easy." So it kind of went from there, and it quickly sort of turned into something that I wanted to do all the time. But I started looking into it more and doing a bit more with people at the gym, and ended up booking in a comp, just doing a novice comp sort of a few months later. So I had a goal to work towards. But at the time of that, I remember not being able to overhead press. Like I could do the bar and a couple of 5s, I think. But yeah, my overhead press was shocking, and the goal was to get to comp day and be able to press 40 kilos. So,
right.
But yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Was the comp with the overhead, was that just a barbell or was that the log at your first comp?
No, it was just a barbell press. Yeah, it was. I remember it being max axle deadlift with no straps. It was barbell for reps, 40 kilos. It was frame carry, which I quickly learned was one of my favourites to do.
Yeah, I love frame carry myself.
Sandbag. It was meant to be like over yoke, but they did it like kind of over like boxes. And can't remember what else it was, to be honest. It was a while ago. But so I trained for that, and I ended up coming first place at it. And sort of that, then I just had the bug then.
You were hooked.
I was in it, yeah.
And did you, by that stage, were you still training yourself, or like when did you start thinking about getting some, like, do you have a coach even? I'm just assuming you have somebody who keeps you on the straight and narrow like myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't do none of the training.
Yeah. So my partner Rob Frampton, he coaches me, And I was a little, because me and him, we've been together nearly 3 years now.
Yeah.
And so when we got together, I was still quite new to everything. And it's really funny. We totally switch roles when we go into the gym. So it's not like a relationship kind of thing. Some people don't know how it works, but it works quite well for us. So I can't get away with anything. If anything, it probably makes me work harder. So yeah, so he coaches me, and he puts me through my paces. So
Must
at
get
that
some tips
time,
off you about changing the rules, because my husband coaches me sometimes as well, and no, it just doesn't seem to work most of the time.
do you know what? I have had a couple of tantrums in the past, and I've quickly learned that doesn't wash with him. Yeah,
No.
when the belt goes and everything. Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
he goes, "We'll get your stuff then, and we'll go home." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to go home. I want to carry on." So yeah, but at that time, no, I was just muddling my way through and just kind of getting help from people around me. So the guy who had the gym, he's called Dave Richardson, and he was a great guy. And at the time, I was a single mum, so he bless him. I'd used to go with my youngest to the gym, and
Yeah.
he used to pace up and out the gym in the pushchair with him, just so I could get my training session done, or he'd let me
That's the
bring him
gym you
in.
would, yeah, that's a good
That's
gym.
it. Yeah, he was good as gold. Yeah, always had a pack of sweets from and stuff like that. And he used to always say to me, you could be good at this. So, and at that time in my life, I was struggling, coming out of sort of quite a severe relationship where I was obviously like emotionally sort of just downtrodden, really. So for me, it was like getting stronger was me being able to look after myself. I think that's what my drive was, to kind of set a good example for my kids.
Yeah.
Because I'd always kind of been in the shadows. I'd always kind of done what everyone else wanted me to do. So when I found that I was good at something, I wanted to really, really push it and see how far I could go with it.
Yeah, and it's I think a strong woman does really test you mentally and physically as well. So it's sometimes finding the balance, and I'm sure like that if you're anything like me, there's days where you mentally just can't be bothered and just get. There's just days where not every day is a good day, basically, isn't it? But you have to
Yeah.
find the will, and you find the power, you find the motivation to just get over that wee hurdle and get the job
That's
done,
it.
because you've got bigger goals at the end of the day.
I think life is really tough. We've possibly had like the hardest sort of couple of years going with everything that's been going on in general life. And if there's one thing that I've found is being in the gym, being able to shut off everything else that's going on and just being able to build yourself up. For me, it's like that's my downtime. Like I'm so busy with work and kids, and I literally live in my car, I think, half the time, because I'm driving up and down the country and going and taking the kids to everything they need to do. And I think when I'm in that gym, that's my time. I think if there's one bit of advice I'll give to people is prioritize yourself. Stop leaving yourself, last in the queue. You're more than just being a mum or just being a nurse like yourself, in your job. You're so much more than that. And I think if you can't put yourself at the top of that list, you're never going to be successful at something. You need to give it 100%.
Yeah. And so what do you do for recovery in that? So obviously, no, I'll go back a step. What do you do for a living then? Because I know we were chatting a wee bit before we started recording.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what your job is.
Yeah, so I'm a sports massage therapist and also a strength coach. Me and my partner Rob, I've got the Strength Tech gym that is in Fareham. But also I have online clients and do that as well. How I kind of came into that was when I first started doing Strongwoman, I did the typical thing of watching what everyone else was doing and thinking I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at how much weight Donna Moore was moving with a yoke, and I'm like, that's what I need to do. And I overtrained massively, and I wanted to hit PBs every session. and I ended up competing and really hurting my back.
Right.
And I was out for months, and I was absolutely shot to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't look after my kids, and I had to really evaluate my life and what I was doing. And long story short is I recovered from it, and I actually ended up retraining so that I could learn how my body would work and be able to look after myself.
Yeah.
And so I retrained in that, and also with my sort of my personal training, so I was able to understand what I needed to do in the gym. I don't want someone to tell me what I need to do. I need to understand myself what I need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
just like listening to your body as well, and if your body's
totally,
tired, rest.
yeah,
If it's hungry, eat. You know, that kind of thing too.
yeah. Like, you know, food is fuel.
Mm-hmm.
I was still in that mindset when I was first started doing all this, was that I needed to be smaller.
Yeah.
I needed to lose weight, even though I always was going to be in opens, because I was on, when I first started doing this like 4 years ago, I was about 84 kilos. So I was over the 82 category already. And
That's
now
right.
I'm
There's
like,
no in between category after the 82. Sure, that's right. They're starting to, I think, bring in the 90s. Is it a 90 kilo category?
I
I
haven't
think some of
heard
them have
that.
brought
I
in.
know they're doing the 73s have just been brought in, because
Mhm.
it's one of them. It's a big jump for this. I think like the 63s, or they might have made it 64 class now. That's a massive jump to 82, or the
Yeah.
lasses that are sort of like within the 70s. So I know they've brought the 73 in, but there's nothing after 82.
No,
Whereas the men are,
it was actually Donna had said that last week that there's a, maybe it's the Arnold's. No, it's not the Arnold's, because everyone's open there. There's a competition coming up anyway, and they're suggesting putting in a 90 category.
all right,
Because
that's
Donna
good
has
then.
lost weight, and she says she wouldn't get down to the 82, but the 91 would have suited her. So
Oh,
maybe
good.
that's, yeah.
That's
I'm never
still
going to be.
that's
I'm
still
never going to be a
okay with me,
90
like, yeah.
anyway. I
I'm
weigh
not
like
losing 15
130
kilos.
kilos. I'm never getting down to that.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't fancy losing 15 kilos. I'm all
No.
right.
Me.
So yeah, so I put like 20 kilos on like over the course of time, but look completely different. Like,
Aye.
so my mindset's completely changed. Like, I'm all for people being whatever size or whatever weight they want to be, as long as you're healthy. You know, put
Yeah.
your health first before anything else. But it took me a long time to be like that, because people always say to me like, how are you so confident? And I'm like, I never used to be. I used to be petrified of going outside with any makeup on and things like that, because I don't have good skin. I suffer with acne, and I've got like my birthmark on my face and things, and it's taken me a long time to accept myself for who I am. And yeah, like you said about the whole recovery thing, like I was overtraining and not eating,
Yeah.
or like, and then not eating right, and then like, I wouldn't say I binged eat. I didn't have an eating disorder, but then I'd play catch up. Does that make
I
sense?
I know what you mean. Like it's kind of disordered eating, or
It was unhealthy. I would say it
yeah.
was not a good way to be. Yeah, I'd go all day with nothing to eat, and then eat from 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock, something like that. You know, it was
Yeah.
not good for me.
I used to live
Um,
off like 6 tins of Coke and I think a sandwich. I want, like, whenever I was younger. And I'd have been probably training like nearly 7 days a week.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think now I I don't track my food as such. I do if I feel like I need to cut weight for, you know, because obviously when the gym's shut, I felt like I was carrying too much weight, because obviously
Yeah.
I was not going to be competing. So I cut weight, and I find that quite easy with tracking what I'm eating and sort of working it like that. But now we're sort of getting ready to compete. I kind of like 80% of the time I eat really well, and then 20% of the time I eat what I want to eat. And
Yeah.
it works for me. My weight pretty much stays. I don't weigh myself, but I know that my weight doesn't really fluctuate. But it doesn't bother me either. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm not Eugene's kind of girl anyway. I don't need to put one up. I'm all about the leggings,
Yeah.
stretch.
I don't think I can remember the last time. Actually, no, I do remember the last time I put on a pair of jeans was on Christmas Day, and I think I bought like a size 20 or 22 in Primark, and I literally had them on me in air and the button popped after my fucking dinner, and then I was like back into the pajamas.
I
But
know.
years ago, that would have bothered me though too. Even being in a size 20 or 22, like it would have bothered me. I couldn't give a shit now at all.
Do you know what? Funny you should say that, because I used to be the same. Like, I would like, as soon as my 14s were not fitting me, I'd like spit the dummy out. I'd be like,
Yeah.
right, I need to go do some cardio. I need to like stop eating shit. And now I'm like, I try some on. Well, do you know what? I don't even go high street shopping now because my body shape doesn't fit in anything.
No.
So yeah, but if I order stuff online and I get it and it don't fit me, I'll go, I'll just buy the next size up. That's literally what I do. I'll just buy a bigger size.
I live off Shein at the minute. Shein's really good, I find, for like leggings and stuff aren't as see-through. I find them, and they're not wild expensive because I wouldn't have I buy them quite often. So I just find Shein's really good for. I've got a big. I'm a curvy girl. Let's put it that way.
I get a lot of my stuff from ASOS. They've got a curve
I always forget
range.
about them.
Yeah, they've got some really good stuff. Yeah, and they started letting me pay on ClearPay. That was like bad news. I was like, oh, just buy it. Spread it over 4 weeks. Spread it over 4 weeks. It'll be all right. And I'm like, yeah, parcels keep turning up. I'm like trying to like shove them behind the sofa so no one sees them.
So yeah, so you're fully recovered now, obviously from that injury. That was a few years ago. So, and you've had several competitions. You came third there in England's Strongest Woman last year, and you came fifth in Brits, wasn't it, last year as well?
Fourth in Brits last year.
Sorry, fourth.
Yeah. No, you're all right.
So tell us about prep then. Which one of them was first? England's was first because that qualifies you to Britain's, wasn't it? So talk me through then your prep then coming up to England's and the events.
So it was a bit of a weird one with the prep for England's because we were initially in lockdown and it was and ahhing whether the comps were going to go ahead. So usually what we've got to do is a qualifier for England's, but because there was lack of time and numbers, Ant Brown, who runs the England's and Brits, the 100 CA, he put us all into England's. So it was a big step up for a lot of us. So we'd all been sort of prepping certain events that then got changed.
Oh, right.
So, but there was lots of crossover with what we was doing. So it was like max deadlift, axle press, I think it was farmers, and then he brought in this glorious duck walk, which had an Atlas stone stuck to the bottom of it. That was nice.
I'm gonna have to look up that video later on to see how that went. I don't remember seeing that in the England.
It was part of a loading event, and then we had stones. So so I train sort of between 4 and 5 times a week, and I don't necessarily train all my events every week either. So Rob obviously programs what I'm doing, and he's always a big stickler for rest, and and obviously doing as much as you can in the gym but always leaving that little bit extra for comp day. So I don't do like 1 rep maxes and things like that. But the big thing for me was my my overhead. It's always been a bit of a weakness for me, and we decided to try doing sort of changing my technique, and we stripped my push press down, and now I do sort of a side jerk, so my legs come out to the side as I'm doing, so bringing my legs in, using those big old beasts to help me with my overhead. So I felt like I took about 10 steps back before I started going forward and progressing with that, but then I surpassed where I was with my push press, and I was hitting comp weight, and I was really happy. On the day I actually didn't get any reps at all. It was a fixed axle, which was really, really heavy.
Right.
And I bruised my sternum quite badly when I cleaned it. So, and it was a bit annoying really, because it was quite close between me and Naomi, who came third. So, sorry, who came second. But it is what it is. I think everything changes come comp day. You could be hitting all the numbers in the gym, and it either happens or it doesn't happen. So, but the prep went well. I think we even went away before it. And yeah, it actually went really well, and I had plenty of rest and things like that. And I think that's a key for me. Was I see a lot of people training right up to a couple of days before sort of competitions. I think I had like 9 days off or something before I competed, and
Like
I
you don't
went
really
in
lose
like,
any strength or anything. Like that myth about losing
not
strength
for
if you don't
me,
train in a certain length of time, and
no.
it's kind
Like,
of
don't get me wrong, I went in the gym and did sort of blood flow stuff and a bit of hypertrophy stuff just to keep my body moving, because I think sometimes I feel worse for doing nothing. I kind of seize up a bit. But yeah, I got like a sports massage and just took it easy. I think for me, it was making sure I had really good sleep. I can put a bit too much pressure on myself, I think, and get a bit anxious before comp. And it's like some people are brilliant and they can use the nerves sort of to their advantage and sort of, get them focused. I'm not like that. If I get too nervous, I fluff everything. So my focus was being calm and kind of not overthinking what was going to happen in the competition, and remembering that this is meant to be a hobby. I'm supposed to be enjoying it. I'm not supposed to be like pulling my hair out being super anxious about it. But to be honest, it was the best prep I've had, and I went into the competition kind of with no expectations, because I think I've kind of floated under the radar with a lot of people. If you ask people sort of who's an open strong woman, you wouldn't maybe get people talking about me, which is fine, because I kind of look, like you said, we were talking about earlier, sort of when I came into this, I was looking at Donna and Andrea and thinking that's where I want to be. And as it's gone on, Rebecca's come through the ranks and worked her backside off, and she's won worlds. She's absolutely amazing. And then the likes of Annabelle, she lives down the road from me, and she's just like, she's fantastic. So there's open strong woman now. Our category is just blown up. It's so competitive, and I think it's brilliant.
It is fantastic.
So I think in the past we've always kind of just been the big girls, haven't we? So
yeah. And if you've got like over here, there's a wee gym down in Monaghan, and at some of the novice competitions we were talking about, just going down and traveling around different gyms and stuff to do like a strong woman gym training day. Do you have that or anything over with you in England? Like, do you have a day where you would go down, like a load of you would go down to somebody's gym and do like a strong woman training day, or like an events day or something, like, just to be training with a load of women, rather than, because I'm sure it's like most places when you go into a gym or a strongman gym, it's all mostly men. There's not very many women.
I think a lot of the time I trained on my own quite a lot, and then I started doing events training at Viking Power and Strength over at Doncaster, and that was really male orientated, but they were brilliant lads. We had a good crack, and they were great. And I started going over there with them. But I tell you something, since I started going over there a few years ago, there's loads of women that go there now.
Is there?
I know that, I don't get over there as much as I'd like to, just because I'm just super busy. But I know, and I've got a client who trains out of there, and they have a really good relationship, and they sort of bounce off each other, the females down there. But I train with a lot of men, but I don't see that as an issue.
No.
I'm kind of lucky enough to sort of have people that are really sort of top end in strongman, and I see it as like sort of a school day for me. Like, I'm always learning, always watching and seeing what they're doing and taking it on board. And people have this kind of persona of like the top guys being out there, but they're just normal people. They're just blood and bones like the rest of us. And if you need help, they'll help you, and I'm really lucky that I get that advice from them. So I take it on board and sort of run with it. But yeah, I think Strongwoman's growing, and it's nice. I see it. Do you know what? I love it on a weekend when I get to go on my socials and I see everyone doing their events training and things.
Yeah.
and I buzz off it, and I just think it's brilliant. You're seeing everyone smashing it, having a really good time, and that's what this sport's about. It's a big, it's a big community, and
It's a very encouraging community. Like, you could go into other sports and they're like, they could be talking somebody else down. You don't see, like, I haven't come across that with Strongwoman or even Strongman. They all really seem to be like cheering you on, encouraging you to lift heavier, or helping you with technique and stuff. It is a really nice community.
I think Strongman and Strongwoman's the only sport that I know that you can be competing as an individual and against people and still have that person encouraging you and supporting you and shouting at you to do what, to potentially take points off them. But it's just how it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just brilliant, because I think in a lot of other sort of disciplines, like with like your bodybuilding and things like that, it's all like down to like the judges, whereas with Strongman and Strongwoman, if you can get that weight to A to B the quickest or the most times, you win.
Yeah.
And that's it. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you come from or how much money you've got in the bank or anything like that. I just think it's brilliant that it just comes down to brute strength.
Yeah. So you're a sports massage therapist. So do you have your own sports massage therapist? Do you have your own like physio, like?
I have I see an osteopath sort of every couple of weeks that's local to me. He's a really nice guy. He's quite funny because he says to me, he's like, if you keep getting stronger, he's like, in bigger, he's like, I'm gonna have to like up his game in the gym to treat me, because I think he's used to sort of treating all the sort of people with normal ailments just from getting older, I think. But no, he helped me recover a lot when I hurt my back a few years ago and stuff, so I trust him, and he's a really good guy.
Do you use saunas and stuff as well? Heat and
Do you know
cold
what?
therapy?
I don't use saunas. I did start. I went over to Float Space over in Thorn near Doncaster. That's near me, and I went for one of the sessions in a float tank, and it was amazing. It was something I was a bit skeptical about it, but it was really, really good, and it totally relaxed me. And I slept like a baby that night. So if anyone hasn't tried it, I definitely recommend trying
I've
that.
never heard of that before.
Yeah, but for me, I think stretching's a big thing. I do it daily. I think, being more flexible and things like that, it's definitely helps with me. But yeah, just normal things really, just keeping my fluids up. I kind of try and cut down the caffeine. I'm not really a pre-workout kind of person. And just sleep. Like, I think you're going to keep me up past my bedtime tonight.
What's your bedtime?
I'm in bed's about 10:30.
So, we should be all right.
I'm like a 10:30 sort of 6 person. I'm up about 6.
Well, Sam and Sue were saying they go to bed at 8:30, but on a Sunday, because of big laws, and Liz, they go to bed a wee bit later. So that's the only person that will ever keep them up is Liz and Laws on a Sunday night.
Yeah, no, I start sorting the dog out about 10 o'clock, and then by the time I've got everything ready, I'm tucked up, ready to knock some heads out at 10:30.
I have 10:30 written on my board. I don't think I've been in my bed at 10:30 yet. I'll get there someday.
I went to bed last night, and my son was still up. I'm like, I'm shattered. I'm going to bed.
What age is your eldest?
He's 13, nearly 14.
13. Wow, that's mad. And he's up longer than Mommy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's just like busy playing on his game.
Sure, they don't need much sleep at all. Like kids could go on like 2-3 hours sleep and still be bloody as hyper as anything the next day anyway, and wide awake.
Crazy, I know. And I tell you what, if they don't wake me up, the dog wakes me up. just to make sure I'm there, and then he's got the cheek to go back to bed. I know.
Bugger.
Oh, yeah.
So what was your favorite? I never even got asked you this. What was your favorite event then at the England Strongest Woman?
Favorite event. Do you know what? It was probably max deadlift, because I'd not maxed my deadlift out for a long time, and I usually pull raw, so I don't usually pull with straps, and I don't wear a suit. And I went into that competition knowing that the other girls would have suits and things like that. So I what did I even hit? I can't remember. That's really bad, isn't it? I think when I first knew I was going to England, I wanted to hit like 210, and I think I ended up getting 207.5. But I did it in no suit, and for me that was a massive thing, because I don't know, I just always had it in my head that I remember getting my first 100-kilo deadlift, and when I got my 200-kilo deadlift and I pulled it raw, and that was a big goal for me. That's what I wanted to do. I think, because I always saw people sort of jumping in suits and getting these big PBs, and I was like, well, that's great, but I want to pull that number without that suit.
Yeah, you want to always get as high as you can. It makes
no difference.
Yeah,
well, yeah, you don't get any extra points for not using the equipment.
Yeah.
I just didn't have it. So yes, that was really, really good. And then actually off the back of England, one of my friends, Jules, bless her, she was like, she's the same build as me. She was like, I haven't got a suit. Why don't you lend mine? I'm not using it. So then I prepped for Brits in a suit. Oh, that was an experience.
Getting into one is an experience in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, I look like one of those pieces of beef that you get from the butcher, rolled up in the strength. Yeah, it was not a good look, but yeah. So I prepped for that with Brits, and I did really well in the suit. I'm still learning. I think it's definitely a good tool, but you've just got to use it right.
Yeah. I put my first one on there last week because we can use it in Ireland's Strongest Woman, and like I've never, like my deadlift's not that big at the minute, but I thought, like, why should I not wear one if we're allowed to wear one? But
yeah, definitely.
They're not the nicest things to wear, like, at all. Definitely not. Getting into one at my size is pretty hilarious to watch. That's nearly a YouTube video or something on its own. How not to get into a deadlift suit.
Definitely.
So apart from the events, then, what was your favorite part about being at England's Strongest Woman?
I think for me, it was the first time I'd been at that kind of high profile competition, and it was obviously run at the expo, so we had like a decent crowd, and it was just really, really nice to be back around everybody, because that was the first competition I'd been back after COVID. And it was just having the day and just having the buzz and just being around friends, and and the great thing with Strongwoman is, like, I met friends that I'd met at other competitions, and then ended up making new friends as well. Like, everyone's just got your back, and it was just really, really nice to kind of be in the thick of it with everybody. And I just love it. Honestly, it sounds daft, but it's in my blood now. And when I don't know, do you get it? Like, when you see someone absolutely smash it, and I goosebumps every time. Yeah. And that's me. And I think when you feel that passionate about something, you should definitely do more of it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm of the vision, if you don't enjoy doing so, if you begin to not enjoy doing something like an old sport or something, that's when you should be thinking, I should have really still be doing this. And then, like, as you say, once you kind of with it, because you love it so much, and it makes you, like, I know there's days if I don't want to go to the gym or whatever, and I think to myself, but when you vision yourself doing it and you get goosebumps even thinking about yourself even doing it, that's when you should still be pushing yourself forward and getting over it and going doing it.
Definitely. I think the more that you progress with it, it kind of becomes like a bit more like your routine, like your way of life. Like you say, like, you know, you have some days that you feel like you don't want to go to the gym, and like I get the other way around where I'm like, I've got to rest today. And it's not that I don't want to rest, and I know I need the rest, but I just love it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think now I've got the best of both worlds. Like I can be in the gym and I can be working and sort of still encouraging people and still see people what they're doing and resting. But yeah, just I've got to rest again tomorrow because I just like burnt my CNS out yesterday training, and I'm a bit like, love going on Monday mornings, drop the
Yeah.
kids off at school and that, and I go straight away. I make sure I've got no clients in because I just love getting that session in. It's the best way to start the week.
All right, my dog's just decided to waken up there and nearly knock the camera flying. So the next competition then after that was Britain's, and you got fourth in that one we were talking about. So was the you were saying the competition, the events were similar enough, weren't they? So prep would have been, did you just continue on with the same prep you were doing for England's, or were the events a wee bit different?
So we had max log, which is like my nemesis. I'm absolutely shocking at log. So yeah, so that we had deadlift for reps. So that's where the suit came into play. So that was a bit different. But I think I only used the suit like twice because we didn't have much time after England. And we had heavy super yoke, and we had frame and stones. Well, frame is like my best event by far. Like I'm a little bit obsessed with grip training, so like something nice and wide and sort of grip dominant like that is good for me. So I like the events for Brits, and need to work on my yoke a bit more and things like that. But what I did on the day was I was happy because, again, like I said before, I definitely fly under the radar when it comes to sort of open strong women, and it was nice that I did what I did because I don't think people expected me to come fourth, and there was only half a point between me and Naomi with third. So
when you going in, what did you have a number in your head even?
You'll laugh. Do you know what I said to Rob? I was like, I'll be all right if I don't come last.
That's what I'm saying to Michael.
Honestly, I went, as long as I'm not last. So
many people were in that competition, 8 or 10 or something, wasn't there? Or was it 12? I remember watching it.
Yeah, there was quite a few of us, weren't there?
Yeah, there was quite a lot.
Yeah, there was a few of us. But when you've got the likes of like Rebecca and Annabelle taking like first and second, you know, fourth's not too shabby, is it? So,
no, definitely not. You'll be on that podium next year, though, won't you?
Oh, I'm chasing it. Like, yeah, I laugh because Naomi's got me on both the competitions, and she's lovely. I've got a lot of time for her, but I'm like, girl, I am on your heels next year, or this year. So, yeah.
And then you were saying as well, you had the Arnold's log and deadlift championships, was it? Or
yeah, we did that in September. So because we did Brits, we got automatic entry into that. So that was good because my partner was running the amateur strongman and strongwoman. He was reffing there, so I actually got to compete on the stage, and he was reffing me, which is a bit emotional to be honest. So yeah, but the only bad side of that was obviously I didn't have him helping me sort of backstage. So yeah, but no, it was really good, and sort of Arnold's and sort of official strongman, they did a really good job of it. We drew in a massive crowd. It was huge, and the more we was on the stage, the bigger the crowd got. So fingers crossed they'll be running it again this year.
Yeah, it was really good setup too, from what I've seen. So
there
was that seemed like there was quite a lot going on that day as well. Like it wasn't just Strongwoman and Strongman. It was
they did the
everything.
The arm wars, they were on in between us. So Neil Pickup was running that. So that was really good. But yeah, there was loads going on. I think they ran it really well.
Yeah. And there was like a load of like I want to say stalls, but I know it's not the right word, but going on out around it as well, where you could do like hold on to the farmers for the length of time. I think Lucy had done that, and there was a few other. There was loads of things going on out there. Like it was.
Yeah, Silverback had a really big stand. They were doing. I think they do the farmers. But yeah, they had all the athletes down as well.
Yeah.
So I remember trying to go for food in between events. I was starving, and I was like, just saw the mass of people around Teddy and Bish. I was like, I'm not bothering trying to walk past them. I'm good. And then the Stoltmans came in, and it was just like crazy. Yeah.
How did you find prepping? Like, was there anything you done different because it was only 2 events? Like 2 events is different to doing like 5 or 6 events. It's obviously it's differently on your body physically and mentally as well, because you're so used to doing like 5 things one after another with very little rest. Was there much rest in between them, or was there like just
yeah we had
on and off?
Quite a while, to be honest, because we had to share the stage, and we did the log, and they actually cut down a full-size wooden log for us. So it was really it was a really odd log to press for me. Felt really unbalanced, especially when I've been training like on a rebel strength one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that, and then we had to break, and then it was in the afternoon we did the deadlifts. So yeah, it was tough. Backstage was tough. It was really, really warm, and I was in my suit a bit too long. I ended up getting cramped in my quad. But it's one of them, when you're out on that stage, it just, I don't know, it gives you that extra 10%, I think.
How many reps did you pull on the both of them?
I think on the log, I did shocking on the log. I think I did like 3 or 4.
What weight was it though? If you're saying it was a proper log, it must have been well heavy though.
I think it was 70 kilos. I think
that's heavy enough.
Yeah, it was 70 kilos, I think. And then the axle was, I want to say 180, and I pulled 10 on that.
Brilliant. Because if you compare that to the log they done at WUS, it was 100, wasn't it, at WUS, and then it was 80 at the OSG. So to be doing 70 kilo, and that's only like a 10 kilo off what they were doing at the Worlds, like that's amazing. Yeah,
well, I hit I think I hit either 82.5 or 85 at Brits. So that was good. That was really good for me, but it was a totally different log. But nobody was going to get near Rhiannon on that day. She biker pressed a lot, so she's just got a technique down to a fine art. But it was good. I think she came and obviously stepped up to the opens and sort of to push herself more with the weights. So coming second to her in the deadlift's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
She's the world record holder, like, too, in her category. Like, so that is something. Like, that really is cool.
It wouldn't have mattered if I'd have done 20. She's still done 21. So.
Were you going head to head?
She was out after me.
She was out after you.
After me, yeah. Because whoever won the log got to go out last on the deadlift.
Right.
So then so you've got the upper hand. You know how many reps that you need. Yeah.
It's a good and bad thing. Like, going last is a good thing because you see what everyone else is, so you know what you have to beat. I feel sorry for whoever goes first sometimes, because like they kind of set the bar, and then everybody, it just gives the person coming next after you something more one more rep, even more than the one in front.
Yeah. Well, I think with the prep as well, because on the deadlift on the day, everyone was, well, not everyone, most people were saying, that it was bouncing around and things. But I'd done a lot of work. I do like deadlift at height, so I like my cycle like floor 1 week, and then 15 and 18 inch, and then put axle work in as well. So I've not even sort of trained an axle deadlift, but it didn't really make a difference because I'd cycle it in my general training anyway. So I don't just deadlift from the floor all the time. I don't just deadlift with like a deadlift bar. I'll do stiff bar and axle and things like that. So that sort of played dividends for me on the day, because I just kept tight with my reps and made sure that it stayed close to my body, and I think it paid off. It was good. It went really well.
How do you find the different grip for the, like you say, you were saying you love your grip exercises and your grip training and stuff. So how did you find the different grip to the axle to the standard deadlift bars?
I think the only thing for me is because I don't use straps a lot, I struggle getting my positioning right when I have to use straps, because obviously then it's like double overhand, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was the hardest bit, was getting the straps on. And I think I used my big figure eights on the day. But they're becoming less and less common in competitions now. They're using like sort of your standard wraps. But in my grip training, I do like axle holds for like time and things. So like it's working your grip in your forearms. So even if we weren't allowed to use straps, I'm not saying I could lift a 180 deadlift like mixed grip, but I'd give it a good go. So
I actually prefer the thicker bar, though. I like the axle bar compared to the standard bar.
I don't know what it is about it. I much prefer to press an axle. I much prefer to press it than a normal. It just sits nicer in the hand, I think.
It does. Your wrists don't seem to bend back as far, and people I mean, it's people running competitions too don't think like the female body is a lot different to the male body, whereas like our wrists are a lot smaller and a bit more daintier, so we're able to. I think that's why in CrossFit, I always come back to CrossFit sometimes because I've done it before, done Strongman. So like we would use the 15 kilo bar where it's a little thinner and it's a bit easier on the wrists, compared to a 20 kilo barbell and stuff. So but they don't what's the word? They don't change things like that for the women, which I don't mind. I don't care. I don't mind doing the thicker bars and stuff like that. I don't mind doing the same as the men, because we can do better than the men sometimes, but just be things like that,
I think for me, like when you're saying about sort of like your wrist positioning, a lot of the time that's down to sort of mobility. So if you're getting too much strain on your wrists, it could be that you need to work on like your shoulder and like your lat mobility and things like that. Like I'm really focusing on like my rack position at the minute. So I had a bit of a sticking point with my overhead press again, and I was just, cause I'm getting stronger and putting more size on, I was pressing sort of from here rather than here. So I would put unracking the weight or cleaning the weight, and you're holding that weight there, and that's a lot of weight to hold on them wrists before you even thought about pressing it over your head. So for me, it's taking that extra sort of 20-30 minutes a day, getting the stretches in, using the bands, warming up properly, getting all the wrists nice and flexible. It really is something people need to invest in a bit more, because it can take the strain off your joints. Because we're all right when we're pressing all these weights, but as soon as you're locking those arms out and those wrists and things, the weight's transferred from your muscles to your joints, and that's when we're going to have problems later on.
That's
with the wear and tear.
Actually, I never thought in that. I would have just sometimes put it down to just the different shape of the female body and the different lengths and that of the bones and stuff too.
Yeah, no, it is, but it will improve if people put the time into doing it. But I'm totally with you with obviously how we're built and things like that. Like log is really hard work. Like sometimes I'll put two sports bars on just to try and squish the old boobs down.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's just getting it over the boobs. Sometimes mine aren't even that bloody big either. Like
I just they're a curse when it comes to this sport. I'm telling you. Yeah. My party trick is to stick my sports bra to stones. I've done that twice in competition now. And the loaders just look at me to say, I don't know what you want me to do. And I'm like, please, somebody tuck my boobs back in.
Oh God. Mine's is sometimes I can't get deep enough into my squat, or sometimes I can't get deep enough into the position I want with my deadlift, because
Yeah.
my hips and my butt are a lot bigger now than what they were when I started. So I'm always having to, the bigger I get or the more muscular I get, I always have to adjust my stance, like for my deadlifts and my squats. So making my feet wider or making my feet point out a bit more and stuff to open up the hips and stuff. Men don't have much of that problems. Like they're pretty much straight up and down compared to us. It'll probably change again when I have kids.
Yeah, when you look at some of the top guys, yeah, when as time goes on, they're getting bigger and bigger, and yeah, they've got some big old curves on them, I think sometimes,
Yeah.
but yeah, they seem to get it in all the right places. But no, I feel you with that. Like again, with like squats and stuff, like working on ankle mobility can be really helpful, stretching the calves and everything off, because I'm built, I've got big old hips and stuff like that, and I can only get down a certain depth before I'm either sitting on my calves or like I've got too much belly in the way. So yeah, working those ankles a bit more gives me a bit more leeway.
Yeah, I
You
find
just
like
got to
I've
work with
had.
what you got.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I was just about to say. I love it. We're all on the same wavelength. It's brilliant. We just kind of went off on a wee tangent there. We were talking about Britons, weren't we? Did we finish talking about that? I can't even remember.
We did Brits and then we did Arnold.
We were
didn't
Arnolds,
we?
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Where am I? Oh, you're so at the minute then, tell us you're training for the Dunny Stones, isn't that right?
Yeah, so the sort of the long-term goal is I want to lift the Dinny Stones unassisted. So I've been training them alongside my grit work. I'm lucky enough to be friends with Mark Haydock, who's lifted the Dinny Stones countless times. He holds some records in them, so he's been helping me. And luckily as well, the UK qualifier that I'm doing, I've got a Dinny Stone sort of replica on the pins. They're doing a timed hold as one of the events, which kind of pulled me into that competition. Yeah, they've got a couple of grip events in that. They've got anvil, 25 kilo anvil per hand. They've got that as an event, and then they've got a big old stone as well over yoke. So that's good for me. But yeah, so doing all that at the minute. Hoping that I can sort of do well at UK's in March.
And your stones that I've seen you in the videos, are they your own, like, or have you borrowed them, or they're not actually the Dunny Stones, like, obviously, are they? They're your version of them.
So the historic stones are up in Scotland, and they are natural stones that have got the rings, the original rings on them. So they stay in the same place. So you go and travel there to do them, obviously, when it's organised.
Yeah.
There's a handful of women that have lifted them, and I think 2 or 3 that have lifted them unassisted. So I want to lift them unassisted, but I also want to do a side-by-side lift on them as well. So they've only ever been lifted with the straddle lift. So when you put your legs, so you've got kind of one in front of you and one behind you. So my big goal, and it is a big ask because it's a lot of work, is to do them side by side.
What do each of them weigh?
I knew you was going to say that to me, and I was.
I have it written somewhere. I do. Yeah, I have it written somewhere.
I want to say 1.8.
Was it 1.83 and
1.4, I think. Something like around there, yeah. Mark will be cursing me because I can't remember what they are. I've got it written down on a board in the gym, so I know what I've got to do. But in comp, it's 140 and 100 for hold for time. Yeah. So be good, but it's just a weird thing that I want to do, like with the grip and stuff, because I just love it. Me and Rob do like weird and wonderful things with our grip, but it's a massive crossover to Strongwoman. You know, I just think if I can pick it up, I can move with it. So
another good one, Rebecca Roberts loves her grip stuff as well. If
Yeah,
she'll be
she's
another one
phenomenal
to,
at it.
she might give you some tips if she's not trying to beat any records that you're doing as well.
I need to get my hands bigger. Yeah, she's got some right
She has
hands on her.
some, yeah, she does. She's really good at grip stuff.
Yeah. I think that'd be the only thing. I get to a certain point where your size of your hand does matter. You know, like look at like Mark Felix for an example.
He's massive hands.
Yeah, like baseball mitts, aren't they? So
They really are.
yeah.
And so when you say unassisted, are you allowed to use chalk? Is that assistance?
Yeah. So when I say unassisted, I mean no straps.
No straps.
Like you can strap in and obviously lift them.
Yeah. Because I know some people, when you ask, they say the chalks and in certain events, chalks and assistance because it gives you extra grip. But I mean, it would end up tearing your hands if you didn't have it on. That's my view. Because the metal is so sore in your hands. It's so thin compared to what you're used to lifting.
I think the actual Dinny Stone rings are a slightly different shaped as well. So your hands have to become conditioned. So that's why I'm kind of training them twice a week. But I don't go to like max weight. I'll do like repetitions and then timed holds.
Yeah.
But you have to get past that mental block of you pick them up and your head's going, you need to put these down. This is bad. You've got to get past that and you've just got to think of something else. But yeah, I resemble like a monkey when I'm doing it because all I think about is trying to get as much air in my body as possible. Like, I'm glad we don't win extra points for being pretty because I would get 0 with my lifting faces.
Some of the lifting faces are quite funny. I was videoing the UK's Strongest Woman because that was one of the first competitions I've ever seen, and some of the when you zoom in some of the photos I took and some of the faces, their faces were bright red. Their like noses were nearly up at their eyes. They were just gritting. it was quite funny. I actually sent them over to a couple of the girls because I thought it would be quite funny. Now they did find it funny, like, but I wasn't sure what to be expecting as their responses back. But they were all nice. They were all laughing.
I think it's like because when you're in the moment when you're doing it, you've no idea what your face looks like, have you?
No.
And everything goes out the window.
Like
go
on. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, you drill technique and everything, don't you? And you think about all your cues, and then you get there, and then I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, just do it, like literally that.
I used to think I'd be the type of person that would like have to have like a spray tan and put a full face of makeup and stuff on until I done my first novice competition. I did put tan on because I thought I have to make myself look nice. Just, I'm going to be in front of a crowd. I started fucking pushing it down. The tan was all over the bloody floor, like all over the concrete, and I looked like I had pushed myself, which I probably peed myself anyway in the middle of doing some of the lifts, but never again when I'm going to wear makeup or tan at all. It's just not that kind of sport whatsoever. And I wouldn't be a wild girly girl anyway, but I just wanted to make myself look nice to mentally prepare myself. But
that's it, yeah.
You learn it, live and learn, don't you?
Yeah, I think sometimes I like people that sort of like to put like their lashes on and their makeup. It's a bit like I see it as like war paint. It's like they're ready, that's how they feel the most confident.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely like, I might fill my eyebrows in and that's about it, just because they're like non-existent. But
no, I have to get my chin done every so often, so I think that's what I'll do next time.
Yeah,
go through a wee bit of pain just to
oh no, but I
help.
just I kind of just embrace it now, like with the whole like skin and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, I'd be like sweating like my makeup off, and like you said, I just look patchy. But I don't know, I don't tan either, so I end up like looking about a bit see-through, to be honest.
If you were to give yourself advice, knowing everything that you know now about like Strongwoman and competing, what would you tell yourself? What would be the advice you would give yourself now?
I would tell myself that I'm stronger than what I think I am. I think we put our own limitations on ourselves, and I've done that. And I've thought that I have never set my goals high enough, and I've always brought the ceiling down on myself. I've always thought this is as good as I'm going to get if I can get to this point, instead of going, well, I'm going to get to this point and beyond. A lot of people that I meet and clients that I have don't know how good that they can be. A lot of people have self-esteem issues and confidence issues, and just find that fire in yourself. It's there. It has to be, because you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't have it. You wouldn't want to lift up awkward, heavy, horrible things. In most of the time, it's freezing. And doing it if you didn't have that fire in your belly. So embrace it, you know, and literally just fuck everybody else and do what you want to do. That's it, really.
Cool. I take it that's what you would say as well to everybody, if newbies and stuff coming into the sport.
Definitely, yeah. I love seeing new people come into the sport, because I can see myself 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, with what the things that they say and things that they do. Like, you know, I've got a lot of time for people. I'm a real people person. Like, I want to give back to the sport as much as I can. And I have quite a few people message me on social media and things, and I'll take that time out of my day to chat, answer any questions. And I get people saying how amazing I am, and it gets me a bit emotional because I don't see myself as that person. I'm just your bog standard Yorkshire lass, just doing what I'm doing. But when people say that I'm inspiring them, it gets to me. It's like, it's special, because I was that person that was getting inspired, and I still get inspired. I get inspired by everyone from all levels. You know, it doesn't matter to me if you're lifting 30 kilos or 130 kilos. If you're putting 100% in the gym, I'm there for you. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. So yeah, it's really emotional, this game, because you kind of have to focus yourself and be strong. And I think some people think by being strong means showing no emotion and being quite hard faced and being sort of having that resting bitch face, which I have regularly in the gym. But I'll be the first person to have a crack and have a laugh, and I'll be loading that bar for you and things like that. I'll help anyone who needs it. So I think new people coming in, I kind of feel I get drawn to them, because I kind of want to be their mum. I want to look after them, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you anything else, then what's your plans then for 2022? What's in the pipeline for Katie?
So like we spoke about, I've got UK's in March, so that's going to be tough. It's only top 2 qualify for that. Go to obviously then UK Strongest Woman in Doncaster Dome, and you've got Lucy and Annabelle and Donna, there. So, you know, it's going to be good if I get there, but it's also going to be a great experience.
What happens if? So you say it's top 2, isn't it, for that?
Yeah, so top 2
UK.
qualifies from England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. So all top 2 qualify.
But if Donna and Annabelle have already qualified and they're competing in that.
So what Glenn's done is he's allowed the people who podiumed last year, they've automatically qualified for the comp, and then he's invited Annabelle just because she absolutely smashed last year. She won WOS, won Brits, won England's. I don't know what she didn't win.
But if them two have already got spots in UK's and they put in first and second, so then who's going to be? There's still going to be 2 extra spaces from England to go.
Yeah, so he's so he's still doing 2 spots from England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. Because if he didn't, then no one would be allowed to qualify from England, would they? With the English girls already being there. So, but obviously, Rebecca is going. She's Welsh, isn't she? So yeah. So then it'd only be 1 from Wales. So I think he's done it quite fair. I think this is the first year he's done a qualifier, because obviously he did invite only last year.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's good. I think it's only having a different promoter, sort of putting the girls out there, is only going to grow the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got that in March, and then in July is England's. And so, because I podiumed last year, I get automatically into that. And I'm just looking just to improve my positioning, qualify for Brits, and again, improve last year on last year's a sort of scores. So it's going to be good. It's like I said, it's going to be tough. The opens category is absolutely blowing up at the minute. There's so many new people coming in at sort of grassroots level, and it's brilliant, because I think when I first started, I'd be worried if the category was going to run, because if we didn't have 3 people in it, they wouldn't run the category.
Right.
And at the time when I first started, there was maybe 3 people turning up at comp. I saw some of the lists the other day that Ant Brown put up, and I think in the Southern qualifier, I think they've got over 10 opens ladies. It's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's really, really growing.
And is OSG your world's ultimate strongwoman, and that is that on the calendar? Is that on the calendar for you this year or next year?
Next year for me.
Next year.
This year, I would love to go this year, but for me to be competitive, my overhead has to improve.
All right.
It sounds daft, but I can't go out there and not be competitive. I don't want to go out there to make numbers up.
Yeah,
I
because
don't want to come out there.
a
I
lot
don't
of
want to come
money.
out there to come last. It's
Yeah.
you know, and I've got a family, and you know, and things like that, and other commitments. So it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think when we're not funded and having sponsorship, it's tough on everybody.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I think that extra 12 months will do me good. But yeah, it's definitely on the cards for 2023.
And sure, you're only starting to peak now too. They say you only start peaking around the age of 30 to 36. So you're what 30? What age do you say you were? You don't even have to sit in camera. Sorry.
Yeah,
just realizing.
I'm 35 in March.
Yeah, so you're in your prime. You're only getting to your prime now. Your prime strength.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I was when was it? It was one of the Giants Live last year. I was talking to Andy Bolton, who's one of our friends, and I was telling him like how I feel like I'm rushing to get things done, because I feel like before I know it, I'm going to blink and I'm going to be 40, and then I'm going to be a Masters, and I want to get to Worlds, and I want to do this and that. And he's like, he was how old was he now? He was telling me like he was like, was he like 40 or late 30s, early 40s? He pulled his biggest ever deadlift. You know, like it's like you don't peak when people think you peak like 25, something like that. It's like you've got so much more to give. And it's like when you see people like that have done extraordinary things,
yeah,
it shows you that you can do them. You know, I think, yeah, it was Mark Haydock was saying to me the other day, he's like, people are only made up of blood and bones. You're exactly the same as women that are doing these things, so why can't you do them? And when people say that to you, you're like, God, you're right. They haven't got superpowers. They're you know, obviously everyone puts the work in differently.
Yeah.
But when it all comes down to it, we're all the same, aren't we? So why can't you do what I do, and why can't I do what you do?
Yeah, we all come into the world the same way and leave the same way.
Exactly, yeah. We just got to make it a fun ride while we're here, haven't we? So.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So I think that pretty much covers everything that I have down. Is there anything else? Anything else that you want to talk about that I haven't got down, or we haven't spoken about?
I can't think of anything. I think I just wanted to say thank you for obviously letting me come on. You know, I think your page that you've built up on social media is brilliant. You're sort of highlighting women in all different disciplines and from all levels as well, and getting people out there and sort of making them notice. You're helping build up other people's self-esteem and confidence, and it's brilliant. You know, you're taking a lot of time out of your day to sort of do that, and it's really good. And I think, you know, I can totally relate to you, because I kind of try to do that as well. And I think the more we can be kind and kind of build other people up, it's only going to help grow the sport for women even more. Because let's face it, we've always kind of been on the back foot of men.
Yeah,
And now people are actually seeing how good that we are. And you've got the likes of sort of Giants Lives and stuff this year that are hopefully going to put women on the telly, and obviously UKs and stuff, and that's what we need.
Yeah, totally.
The more people can see what we're doing, the more we're going to get that back in, and then hopefully when the prize money will come in, and it'll make it easier for the likes of me and you to get to sort of bigger comps and things like that, because it's tough, but I think if we all stick together, we'll get there.
Yeah, definitely. I think just even like it's so different for women, because like you've got like, obviously you're lucky enough now you've got Rob, but you were a single mother for so long with 3 kids, and trying to find the time to like, I don't know what your your background was before that, and we'll not get into that, but like just working full time, training full time, looking after 3 kids, that's full time. When like, is you're right, when do you really get the time then to look after yourself? And like everything costs money, and the price of things now like are going up so much too. And it would just be nice for sponsors to recognize the women coming through and the hard work that you all are putting in.
Definitely.
As well with this page, I want to eventually I can't, like, hopefully it'd be great if it would happen overnight, but things like that don't. But I would love to sponsor athletes with us, and if the podcast took off, and merchandise and everything, just put it back into Strongwoman, just put it back into women in strength, and just help out in any way possible, because I know it's not easy. I didn't realize how expensive it was though either until I started it myself too. Like, so every little helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think me and Rob we're that same minded, like trying to help people and things like that. Like we have sort of members coming into our gym from all different kind of backgrounds, some with sort of mental health issues and things like that, and and we help them as much as we can, whether it's giving sort of coaching and things like that, and other things, like I've had people that have been out of work and stuff, and they've not been able to afford stuff, and it's like, I'll give up my time. Like, what, if you need to have a massage just to get you out of the house and to sort of help you relax and give you better sort of sleep, I'm happy enough to give sort of an hour of my time up for somebody like that, because I've been there. I've been on the bones of my ass where I've had nothing. I went to my first comp and there was a guy taking off his knee sleeves to give me his knee sleeves, to lend me them. I got a second-hand belt. I got lent wrist wraps. So I've been there and I know what it's like, and you can't be proud. If you need help, you should ask for help. So I think it's brilliant what you're doing, and now I'm in a position where, like you said, I've got Rob. He's amazing with the children and myself and everything else, and sort of he's built me up. He's helped give me that confidence. He says to me, you don't know how good you are, and to have somebody like that in your corner is brilliant.
It really
and
is.
I'm lucky enough that he's so knowledgeable and he's been there and he's done it. So I've got the right people in my corner. So if I can help other people, and do that, like, I find myself doing it all the time. There was a guy in the gym the other day and he's moaning that he's absolutely broke and he hasn't got no wrist wraps, and I just gave him my wrist wraps, and he's like, what do you want from him? I'm like, absolutely nothing, because if that's what you think you need to improve your overhead, then have them, so it's, and because I've been there.
To be nice too, like it costs nothing to be nice to somebody. And
literally
for
not.
all like that could have, like, you just giving them wrist wraps could have saved his life in a different sense. It could have made him realize that, Jesus, I'm not alone in this world. I'm actually, somebody actually has took the time to think about me. Maybe it could just, like, I've been in a bad place in my mental health, and if I didn't have my family and friends around me, like I could have been in a different position now, which is another reason why I started the page.
Yeah.
So it is like, you know, it all comes down to just being nice. And
It does, yeah. Treat people as you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And I got brought up like that, and I tell my kids the same thing. But just not even with my clients and my friends and everything, you know, I won't ever tell someone to do something that I don't do.
yeah,
You know, like with training and stuff like that. The same as like I won't let you say something bad about yourself. I say to people, would you say that to me? No, well, don't say it to yourself then.
yeah,
You know, like half the time we're our own worst critic, and we're causing the problems when we're beating ourselves up because maybe we felt shit and we didn't go to the gym. The gym will always be there.
yeah.
And that's another thing that I've learned, you know, you don't punish yourself. If you, like we were saying earlier about sort of like recovery and food and stuff, if you're hungry, eat. You know, this is not like a game. We can't do the things that we do without fueling our bodies. You know, we're
Yeah.
here to take up space. Make yourself as big and strong as what you want to be. We don't need to be little. We want to be heard, don't we?
Yeah. I think too, if other people hear or see you talking yourself down, it gives them the ammunition to talk you down as well. If they hear you doing it, they're going to think, well, if they feel it's okay to do it to themselves, I'm just going to say it to them as well. You know, nobody's not going to just go out of their way if they hear you saying anything bad about yourself to try and pick you up. It doesn't. Sometimes that just doesn't work like that. You have to be.
No.
You have to love yourself and. In some cases learn to love yourself again. And you know, just push your, as you say, just push your boundaries all the time. Make yourself feel uncomfortable, but in a positive way.
I think sometimes you've got to push yourself out of that comfort zone. That's the only way you're going to grow. You know, if we stay doing what we like, then nothing will change. You know, it's a sign of madness doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah.
You know, I say when people are like saying certain things aren't going well change what you're doing then.
Yeah.
And I know it's not as easy as that, but that's the first step. Make a plan and do it. You know, and I think you can't always stay in that comfort zone, and you can't always just be doing the same thing because, you know, not just mentally but physically, because as people we're meant to progress and we're meant to grow as people, aren't we? You know, we're meant to move around and do new things and everything else, or we just become stationary and then what's the point?
Yeah. And being comfortable, I always think being comfortable is a bad position to be in, because if you get too comfortable, you just don't put yourself, your mental health even spirals downwards whenever you get comfortable.
Your brain switches off, doesn't it?
It does.
If you know what you're going to do, it's a walk in the park, your brain switches off.
And that's what I think too, social media. So it's good. It's got its good and bad points, but I think the bad point is you could be sitting on, like, I know I do it. If I go to bed early, I could be sitting on TikTok watching videos for an hour and a half, and I wouldn't even realize it's an hour and a half. And then I'd be all wound up and I wouldn't sleep.
Yeah. And then you've got to think of it at the flip side. Like, I'm all for downtime, and I love a little bit of a scroll on social media, but where's the line drawn?
Yeah.
Because then people are like, I've got no time to do stretching, or I've got no time to do my meal prep, or I've forgotten to eat it, or you know, all these other things come into play. And it's like, well, address where your time spent. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. So see where you can make that change.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that myself.
And I'm the same as you. I'm the same as you, honestly. Like, don't even get me started on reels on Instagram. Who made them a thing? I'm like going, oh, that's
so
good.
addictive.
Yeah, and I'm obsessed with my bulldog. So honestly, get me some dog videos on Instagram, and I'll lose like 3 hours of my life.
Yeah,
so,
same.
I know. I make sure all my jobs are done. Everything's done before I get my bum sat on that sofa, because then I'm out. I'm in the zone, in the bulldog zone.
My thing's Fortnite at the minute. I've been playing Fortnite, and I have to make sure I have the housework done before I go and play Fortnite.
You sound like my boys. They're absolutely obsessed with it.
It's my nephew's got me obsessed with it because I would play Fortnite with them, and whenever they're up, or like we would have like a Sunday. Normally we would you know, go online together and play it for a few hours, and you do get lost in it. So yeah, but that's all the questions covered. Now we're down to the fire questions, so it's just answer them as quickly as you can.
Go on then.
They're not hard. Like they're just a wee bit of fun at the end. So your favorite TV program?
Oh, Friends. Let's go
Friends.
Friends.
Good
My
choice.
eldest son's making me rewatch it. I know. I feel like I'm going back 20 years. Yeah.
Favorite film?
Shawshank Redemption.
Favorite band?
Five Finger Death Punch. It was between them and Slipknot.
I've never heard of the other one. I've never heard of that one before. I actually know their music. I'm so bad when it comes to like names of bands and stuff. But let me hear that. If I hear the music, I know who they are. Favorite drink?
Coke Zero. I don't drink alcohol. I'm a bit boring. Either that or a brew. I'll have a coffee.
Favorite meal?
Chinese.
Yeah. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Favorite holiday destination?
Scotland.
But if you had a bucket list, what would your top 3 things be?
Probably I want to go whale watching. I want to travel to Australia. And what would be my other thing I want to do? I want to go and do Route 66. I want to go traveling around America.
That would be class, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch that on YouTube?
No. Do you know what?
You should Google that or YouTube that.
Yeah, we me and my partner, we did the NC 500 around Scotland, around the Highlands. We did it in our transporter
class
a couple of years ago, and it was amazing. But we we were getting married. We want to get married on the Isle of Skye up in Scotland, so that's why we want to go there. But, yeah.
Cool. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Favorite superhero?
Hulk.
Your favorite fancy dress?
I don't know. I'm trying to think what I've dressed up as. I tell you what, it'd be Mrs. Trunchbull. I dressed up as her yesterday. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think most of the strong women dress up as her every day.
I know. I'm literally like, I trained yesterday. I was like, look to the videos. I'm like, all you needed to change was like have the Olympics instead of tough on my grey top. Yeah.
Your favorite gym day?
Monday.
What do you do on Mondays?
What do I do Mondays? Legs.
Leg day.
Love training legs. Yeah.
Your favorite city?
I get what you meant now. I'm like, you didn't mean day of the week. I'm like, oh.
Wasn't making you answer them so quick. Your favorite city?
My favorite city. I'm gonna go with York. If you haven't been to York, you should.
I've been to York. I have a friend that lives. Well, she's from York, but she's moved to somewhere else with a beach, somewhere near York. I don't know. I met her in uni. Favorite other sport?
Favorite other sport? I'd have to go with probably rugby.
Rugby.
Yeah.
We were playing Scotland yesterday. We weren't playing England yesterday. Your best performance. Doesn't have to be strong woman, can be in life in general, just your best performance. Or the one you're most proud of.
Best performance. I don't know. Do you know what? I think me coming third at England's was probably my best. I like that more than me coming fourth at Brits. even though it was, do you know what I mean? It was, I think because it was my first big kind of step up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that for me.
Cool. Where am I? Who's your greatest of all time strong woman and strong man?
You
can't say Rob. You're not allowed to say Rob.
You laughed, you know what? when we started dating, it was like, and everyone's going, "You went out with Rob Frampton?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, do you remember when he was at Wales?" And I'm like, "No, I'm too young." Yeah, so I was like, that's him going, I didn't know he went to Wales. So yeah, but no, I think favourite strong woman, it has to be Donna for me, because she was like my drive when I first started, and I've always kind of looked up to her in that way. And I think favourite strong man is, see, that's a hard one, isn't it?
That's a hard one whenever you train me all of them, isn't it? Now they're going to be watching you.
I know, yeah, they're all like,
they're going to be like, why didn't you pick me?
Yeah. Magnus Berg Magnusson, because when I was growing up, I remember him being my favourite on telly.
Yeah.
And I love reminding him of that when I see him as well, because he's like,
have you met him? Have you actually got to meet him?
Yeah, because it's Rob, really. I get to go to all the shows and things with him now.
Right enough.
Yeah, the kids, like, they meet more people than me, but they yeah, so obviously I get to go backstage and everything and things like that, and I'm like, now they're my friends and stuff, so I'm pretty, but like at the start I was like, don't fangirl over people, be cool. Just be cool. So yeah, but that was funny telling him about that. So then yeah, and then he was trying to tell me that he was younger than Rob. It was quite funny. So yeah, it's got to be him, I think.
Cool. Your favorite cheat meal?
See, I said cheat meal for normal meal, didn't I? It was like,
doesn't matter.
Chicken and rice and like some broccoli. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Chinese. Yeah,
I had a salted chili chicken before I came on. Stuff in my face at 6 o'clock. Person you most admire?
Person I most admire?
Yeah.
You know what? It sounds a bit cheesy, but I think it'd have to be my mum.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's when I was younger, she had it mega hard. She was on her own with me and my brother, and she's really, really like, she's real career focused now. And I remember her never really kind of being around when I was younger, but I get it now why she did it, because she was trying to make a better life for me and my brother, and she's done really, really well for herself. And I think without her, I don't think I'd have done what I do now, because obviously she was the one helping me with the kids.
Yeah.
She'd look after them while I went to the gym and stuff like that. And yeah, she's always there for me. So definitely my mum.
Cool. Your favourite animal?
My dog.
What kind of dog?
My bulldog, Teddy.
Wee bulldog.
Yeah.
Your favourite event?
Frame carry.
Are you a summer, winter, autumn, or what's the fucking fourth?
Spring.
Spring, yeah. I don't like spring, I don't like winter, I just like summer.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of a summer bird, yeah. I just love the beach. We go paddleboarding and stuff, so yeah.
Have you got a beach near you in York?
We have went down at Rob's, yeah. We're like 5-10 minutes away from the beach. So yeah, we've got paddle boards and the kayak and stuff that we go out on. So
where do you say
cool.
Rob's from?
Near Portsmouth.
Portsmouth? No, it's not where my friend lives. I literally haven't seen my friend in like 4 years, and she could live on the other side of the world, and I just know she lives somewhere near York, and it begins with a H and it's got a beach. That's all I know. Are you a film or a book?
Film.
That's all the questions. That's well done. Thank you very much, Katie. It's been an absolute pleasure. And Oh, you will make it to bed in time. Look, it's only 10:25.
That's it. Gotta go get my teeth brushed. I'll be in bed. We're all good.
Thank you for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and ring that wee bell. Ding-ling.